Wow, happy Monday. Hopefully, everyone is having a better Monday than I am or a better weekend than mine. I might do a video on it, but needless to say, I got some house repairs to do. But let's go ahead and go in with the actual news. Once again, the gun grabbers were able to get a small victory. This in Texas House. A small victory, but those small victories tend to lead to bigger victories down the road. It just means that there's an appetite for this and they're going to be building on momentum. And the Second Amendment gets killed by 1,000 cuts. That's why the NRA and other gun lobbyists are out there to ensure that for generations we actually have the Second Amendment. But this is a real head scratcher, to be honest. It's actually surprising. The surprise move days after Allen Mall shooting, Texas House panel okays bill for raising the age to buy semi-automatic rifles. The legislation would raise the minimum age for purchasing certain firearms and likely wouldn't have been a hindrance to the Allen gunman obtaining a weapon. I'm glad that they admit that the bill is still facing an uphill climb in the legislature. The surprise move after the Allen Mall shooting and hours before a key legislative deadline, the Texas House Committee advanced a bill Monday that would raise the minimum age to purchase a certain semi-automatic rifles. The bill faces an uphill climb to become a state law, but the vote marked a milestone for the proposal for relatives of the Uvalde shooting victims have been pushing for months. Several relatives of children who were killed in Robb Elementary School shooting last year sobbed when the committee voted to 8-5 to send the bill to the House floor. Republican State Sam Harris and Justin Holland joined the Democrats on the House Committee Safety Select Committee, or the House Committee, Community Safety Select Committee to advance the bill. Less than 2 hours earlier, relatives of Uvalde victims have urged the committee chair, Rep. Ryan Gulen R. Rio Grande, to give House Bill 2740. I just want to see something. Let's see here. Text. Let's see here. Let's do Adobe. How many pages? That's only 3 pages. A bill to be enacted on relating and prohibiting the transfer of certain semi-automatic rifles to certain recipients, creating a criminal offense, increasing criminal penalties, to be enacted by the legislature of Texas, Section 1, Section 4606A, C, and D, the Penal Code are amended to read the following: a person that committed offense if the person sells, rents, leases, loans, or given a handgun to any person knowing that the person the handgun is to be delivered intent to use for unlawful or in the commission of an unlawful act, the intention of knowingly sells, rents, lease, or gives an offer to sell, rent, lease, or give to any child younger than the age of 18. Of any child younger than the age of 18, a club, a location, restricted knife, or firearm other than a semi-automatic rifle described by paragraph B, or a person younger than 21 years of age of a semi-automatic rifle that is capable of accepting a detachable magazine and has a caliber greater than 22.22 or .2222. So I guess a 223, since it has a 3, is greater than 22, making the AR-15s a 5.56 round greater. Intentionally knowing or recklessly sell a firearm or ammunition or a firearm to any person who is intoxicated, knowingly sells a firearm or ammunition for a firearm to a person who has been convicted of a felony before the 5th anniversary of later of the following dates. Person that released from confinement following a conviction of a felony, or a person released from supervision under the Community Supervision Parole or mandatory supervision following the conviction of a felony, sells, rents, lease, loans, or give a handgun to any person knowing that it is an act of protective order is direct to the person whom the handgun is delivered. Does this include gun range rentals where you can't leave the gun or can't leave with the gun? Knowingly purchase, rents, and lease or receive a loan or a gift from a handgun while an act of protective order is directed by the actor while prohibiting the possession of a firearm under state or federal law knowingly makes a material false statement on a form that is required by state or federal law for the purchase of sale or other transfer of firearms submitted to a firearm dealer licensed under 18 U.S. or USC section 92.3 or 923. It's the affirming defense or prosecution under section blah 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 that transfers to a minor whose parent or person having legal custody of a minor and given written permission for the sale of or if the transfer other than the sale of the parent or a person having legal custody of given effective consent that the recipient is transferred to the firearm is a peace officer. Wait, is this exempt? This is exempt from the application of subsection that the recipient of the transfer firearm is a peace officer or a member of the United States Armed Forces or has been honorably discharged from the U.S. military States Armed Forces. An offense under the section, Class A misdemeanor, except an offense but offense under subsection is a state jail felony if the weapon is subject to the offense as a handgun. An offense under the section is state jail felony. The change in the law by enacted applies to any offense committed on or after the effective date of this act. Any offense committed before the effective date of this act is governed by the law and is effect on the date that the offense was committed, and the former law is continued in effect for that purpose. For the purpose of this section, any offense that is committed before the effective date of this act, any element of the offense occurred before that date to the extent any conflict this act prevails over another act from the 88th legislature, regular section 2023, related to non-substance additions, correlation enacted to codes. This act takes effect September 1st, 2023. So that is the bill. Sorry, I have getting off topic. Let's see, 1 year ago, my daughter had her communion. I don't want to disrespect, but this is more of an emotional tactic. It's to use emotions, use the death as a talking point to get you to give up your guns. It's not a tactic that I agree with, to be honest. 1 year ago, my daughter had her communion. About a month later, she was buried in the same dress. Javier Garzares, whose 9-year-old daughter, Jacqueline, was killed in the Uvalde shooting, said during an emotional press conference, Mr. Gulen and anybody else who is stopping this bill from passing, sad to say that more blood will be on your hands. It's also an emotional tactic saying, if you don't do something, any death from here on is in your hands. If you prevent any gun control, any bill that takes guns away from law-abiding citizens, that means blood is on your hands. I mean, I get it. He's very emotional, and he wants to see this not happen again. So I understand it, but it's still an emotional tactic. Monday marks the last day House bill can be voted out of committee in the lower chamber. House bills that don't meet the deadline face increasingly difficult odds of becoming law, though there are some avenues through which measures are left in the committee could be revived. HB 2744, filed by Democrat Rep. Tracy King, whose district includes Uvalde, was debated before the House Select Committee last month during a hearing where relatives of Uvalde victims shared emotional accounts that their lives torn asunder by gun violence. Now, the Texas Tribune is definitely has a bias against guns, and it's being respected in this as well. Monday, the legislative deadline falls 2 days after the gunman in Allen, a Dallas suburb of about 100,000 people, killed 8 shoppers in an outdoor mall with an AR-15 style rifle, the same weapon used by the gunman in Uvalde, where 19 children and 2 teachers were killed, striking that emotional response. You don't want more kids to die, just give up your guns, and more kids will be able to survive the school year if you just give up your guns. That's the emotional tactics, is kids' lives over your right to own a gun. But the thing is, a gun is just an inanimate object. People are going to find a way to cause mass harm, unfortunately. Because the man identified that the gunman in Allen was 33, raising the limit age of the semi-automatic purchase likely wouldn't have kept him from purchasing such a weapon, but Saturday's shooting renewed calls for tightening some gun laws in the states whose lawmakers have loosened the firearm restrictions despite repeated mass shootings. On Sunday, the Allen shooting, Governor Abbott again doubled down on the GOP to reinstate or resistance to gun control legislation. House Speaker Dade Phelan said earlier this year he did not believe HB 2744 has the votes to pass the chamber, but he won't stand in the way of being debated. Similar bill in the Senate has not yet received a hearing, and Abbott said that the law would not be constitutional due to a Supreme Court ruling that if you're the age of 18, you're considered an adult, and when you're considered an adult, you have the right for self-defense, whether that be bear mace, a knife, a pistol, or a rifle, or a shotgun. I don't think the issue is gun control, because in my opinion, gun control only punishes legal-abiding citizens. That puts restrictions into their hands to be able to properly defend themselves. And yes, I know that the media doesn't want to cover it when a gun is used to protect someone's life. I wish I could show a video, security camera video, but the account has been banned or suspended from Twitter. So therefore, I can't show you that. But pretty much a person goes up, tries to rob a convenience store. The convenience store person sees that the person is acting suspicious, rolls out his gun. Brings out his gun and just points it at him. And everyone leaves peacefully. Actually, let me just check here. No, it still says it's suspended from the account. But pretty much show a person bringing out his weapon, putting it ready, and then points a gun at the would-be robber, and the robber goes away. No shots fired. It saved the clerk's life, prevented a crime. So guns do save people. Unfortunately, there's gun grabbers that want to take away our right to defend ourselves. And I'm under the opinion just brandishing a weapon tends to make people scared. They tend to walk the other way or go to another target that's softer. I mean, is it 100%? Absolutely not, but it's definitely a deterrent. And if everyone is strapped, or if enough people are strapped, that make it even more of a less a deterrent, unless you could be sure to know that the target that you're going after isn't strapped. But I don't think gun violence is the issue. I just think violence is the issue. And there's a lot of people on Twitter that disagree with me. They think we have more access to guns is the reason. But we've always had the same access to guns. Actually, we have less access since the 1920s. You used to be able to order a machine gun from the Sears catalog, and it'll be sent to your house by mail. We can't get a fully automatic weapon now, or easily. It's heavily regulated. But, I mean, we've had pretty much the similar laws from the 30s on. Something has changed from the 30s into to today. And I just think that we have our moral compass is broken. I think we're teaching kids wrong morality. It's okay to be violent, whether it's through TikTok or through parents or teachers doing Fight Club in their classroom. But it's not the gun, because a gun is just a tool. If you ban all guns and all the guns magically go away, we'll start using knives and swords. That being said, that is my video for today. I'm surprised that this bill is going to be voted on the floor. I don't know if it'll be getting out of the House. It may not have the votes in the House. But leave your comment down below if you think this will pass the House. That being said, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.